I just wanted to take a quick Snapchat. I just really want to remember this. So let me start today with the story of how I got here. Because really, just last year, I was stranded in Italy, and I thought I'd never step foot on this campus again. Here's the picture from then. This is me and my new friend Carly, who had actually met about 2 weeks prior while I was in Paris. And we kept running into each other so often that we decided to just start traveling together. Behind us is this beautiful Italian town known as Rio Maggio, one of the 5 that make up St. Terre, Italy. It's home to about 1,000 residents, and it's only really accessible by train. And just our luck, about 5 hours after this photo was taken, Carly and I were waiting to leave the town just in time to see the train go flying by, signaling the beginning of an Italian train strike. So when I look at this photo, I first remember all the good Italian food that I had, and then I remember Carly, who's become one of my closest friends. But ultimately, I remember the feeling of having 3 days worth of plans fall apart in a matter of seconds. But when I think about it, being stuck in Italy really isn't the worst place I could be. In fact, 2 years ago, before I decided the Army wasn't for me and transferred to Vanderbilt, I was actually a cadet at West Point. And when I think about bad situations, I think about summer training. Here's a picture from then. This is me and my 10-person squad the summer before I entered my sophomore year at the academy. And from all the dirt and grime and the face I'm clearly making, you can probably tell this was not one of my favorite summers. In fact, I'm actually concussed in this photo. And this was one of the hardest summers of my life. And when I think about it, being concussed and sleeping in the woods wasn't exactly where I saw myself spending my first college summer break. In fact, growing up, I actually hated being outside, and I never wanted to play toy soldier. I actually preferred air conditioning and flower hair clips. Here's a picture from then. This is me at my 3rd birthday party. And what you don't see happening behind the camera is my dad's actually pulling out this larger than me Winnie the Pooh stuffed animal. And this moment forever catalogs my reaction. But in reality, everything I just told you, I don't remember. Everything I just said was from my mom's perspective. She's the one who took this photo. And when she looks at it, she can remember exactly who I was then, even if I don't. This photo immortalizes my teeth before I got my braces, that dress before I got it covered in cake minutes later, and that hairstyle that I rocked for the next few months. But I'm sure you too all have photos of people, of places, and of experiences you don't want to forget. For instance, if I lost this photo, I'd lose all the key details that really bring my Italian adventures back to life. I'd forget about the shoes that I'm wearing, the same ones that I wore for my first day of high school, and the same ones that I threw away 2 weeks later in Budapest. I'd also forget about the boat, the yellow one in the middle of the frame, that Carly and I spent 30 minutes convincing the owners that we were completely qualified to operate. Well, we weren't. If I lost this photo, I'd forget about all the important people that I shared this incredible experience with. There's Care, the only other female in my squad, who, like clockwork, at 2 a.m. would wake me up with, "Michaela, I'm so sorry, but I really have to go to the bathroom." and I'd grudgingly get out of my warm sleeping bag and accompany her into the woods. There's also Nick, who I had very, very briefly met the summer before during basic training. And we also shared a class together that freshman year. Our mutual friend had actually approached me and told me that Nick and I were in the same squad for this summer training. And I had to embarrassingly reveal that I had no idea who Nick was, with Nick standing right beside me. He still doesn't let me live this down. These small details matter. They matter here, where I'm sitting next to my babysitter, Sarah. And while I can tell you her name and the games we used to play in the afternoon, I could never put a face to these memories. But with this photo, I'm allowed to have that one last tidbit of information. This photo gives me one more full memory from my childhood. And so today, I bring up all these photos to emphasize the stories they preserve. Because each time I tell a memory, my story may change. But the details in these photos are permanent. They immortalize who I was, where I was, and who I spent those moments with. And they remind me of my childhood, of a time where sharing photographs used to require physical attendance. Remember when we only had 36 shots on a film roll, and after you're done shooting all 36, you would have to go drop it off and wait for it to be processed. And it felt like Christmas time when my mom would come home with the photos from our last trip. My entire family would run to the living room and would watch as someone flipped through all the photos and would pause and tell all the stories behind each one. And each time, I could almost feel like I was in those exact moments, even weeks or months later. And my childhood has been immortalized in these chance shots, these perfect mistakes, where we really had to focus in on exactly what we wanted to remember. We only had 36 shots, sometimes even less. How did we really want these moments to be preserved? Now, in a generation with technology, we can easily overlook these capabilities and the quality of storytelling. Taking a picture now requires minimal effort. It's as easy as clicking a button on a camera or on a smartphone. But now, with this ability to take hundreds of photos in a matter of minutes and see them instantly, have we simply replaced quality with quantity? The next time you're at a football game, or hiking, or even at lunch, I challenge you to put away your camera and to really live in the moment. And I ask you to be slow and to be deliberate when the moment's just right. Because we too often take pictures and forget. And this time, I want you to take pictures and remember. I want to revisit that Snapchat I took at the very beginning of this presentation. Remember how I said that I wanted to remember this moment? Well, I have about 23 hours and 50 minutes to decide how I want to remember this. Without the picture, the memories of today will soon disappear. But with the picture, I'll remember exactly what dress I wore and how long it took for me to decide. I'll remember how many people came and heard me talk and all the faces of my friends. And I'll remember how soft and how bright this carpet actually was. This one picture would allow me to relive this moment again and again. Thank you.